why is this on the screen, or what is this, or what is that? I want them to be able to articulate it. Welcome in, branches, gratitude.
Abundance.
Go ahead, Sleeper World.
Go ahead, what?
Why did you request up?
I just don't think that it's the biggest lie ever told.
Okay, so go ahead and tell us more about what you think.
Your job.
Don't request up and then tell me to tell you something. My premise is on the screen. If you disagree, you need to tell me why you disagree with what's on the screen. Didn't I just say that?
You came
I literally just said I'm interested to see how these people are going to come in here and say, oh, you have it. And he literally did that. Explain to me why you think evolution is true, but you didn't.
Exactly.
And then you're over talking me and trying to be disrespectful. I'm not going to allow you to speak in here. Like, what? Biggest lie ever told, man. Biggest lie ever told. Right. So we seen yesterday in the live, someone was talking about, well, if you look at a sperm looks like a frog and da-da-da-da. Looks can be deceiving, right? That's why it's important to understand the biochemical substances. That's why it's important to understand the types of cells that these organisms are made of, right? If you're not taking it as far deep as that, then you're believing what somebody else is saying. That means that you don't know, right? That means you haven't sat down with the information. And what I keep noticing is that the same people that have been in here for years is still asking 1 + 1 = 2 type questions, man. If this information is your truth, how have you not sat down with it? If you see that this is universal truth and this is expressing nature, how have you not sat down with this information, man? That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem. I seen someone was in the request.
Hello?
Peter Cry, tell us why you came up.
Because I hate niggers.
Okay, did you want to address the prompt?
Why is there a monkey?
This is a grown man laughing and shit. Like, bro, you too grown for that shit. Nobody else thinks that shit is funny but you. You think that saying hard R and you're a BLK man, like you find that shit funny?
Stockholm Syndrome.
Like,
cognitive dissonance.
What's up,
to
man?
The truth.
You could have just came up here and talked about what was on the prompt, but you came in here calling names and giggling about it.
What the evolutionary scientists and biologists who created these type of charts, what they're trying to depict and tell us is that so-called black people are the monkeys and that white people were naturally selected by the universe to be the latest prototype of us. And that is false. So it's very interesting for you as a brother with star genetics to be coming up and speaking like that in such a manner.
So, let's see. Alex, go ahead and tell us why you're requesting up. And you left. It's interesting because you said, oh, it's funny. I wanted to see what you were going to say funny about your own genetics. You find it funny that a pig, a dog, a cat, a piece of celery, fleas, ticks, lice, chimpanzees, apes, potatoes, bananas is all within your genome. I find that disgusting.
An abomination to life.
And a genetic abomination to this planet. And you're laughing.
To all ecosystems. You poison all ecosystems.
You're saying I'm in a hotel room and it's quiet and I can't talk. Y'all always got an excuse, you know? Just please explain to us what you feel about evolution. You know what I'm saying? If you don't agree with the topic, then come up and explain to us scientifically, genetically, and biologically how we're all the same species. That's it. Do y'all think, what do you think?
Exactly. What do you think?
Tell us what you think.
How do you think beings come into life?
How did you arrive at incubator babies? How did you arrive at that, you know what I'm saying? Facts. We're not all the same species. We don't genetically function the same. We're not biologically the same. Our cells don't migrate the same. We don't have the same embryological origin.
We don't have the same cell types.
What up?
Yeah, what was the reason why you requested up?
I just wanted to comment on the prompt.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they've proven that people came out of Africa a long time ago that they were Homo erectus, and that everybody came from the Homo erectus, which was an ape. That
Homo erectus was an ape.
He was ape-like.
Oh,
it's interesting that you ended up at Homo erectus, but nothing that led us to that point or any other organisms that are involved. Like, people love making this about apes, but evolution is talking about all life evolving from a common ancestor.
Which means microorganisms.
Plants.
So how did a prokaryote create a eukaryote? How did we go from a haploid to diploid?
Look, our closest relative was the Homo erectus. We're Homo sapiens.
And you know that Homo erectus and Homo sapiens are not the same species, right?
Right. We are our Homo sapiens, right?
So again, explain to me how two completely different species came from each other. You're just coming in here saying we're related, but you're not saying how. And then again, you're starting at this organism at the end of the story. You're not telling us what makes this organism up. That's what evolution is about. It starts as far back as prokaryotes and eukaryotes. It doesn't start with a monkey or an ape or Homo erectus or none of that.
Yeah, because hominization means the process of becoming a human. And that process happens in introgression. You see what I'm saying? In synthetic biology, in the process of making a human, hominization.
I know you're trying to sound smart and all, but the scientists are smarter.
And again, all scientists cannot. Be nice. All scientists, there's no scientist on the globe that can explain how we went from haploids to diploids.
Estados Unidos.
Like, y'all love playing on here, and that, like I say, this is gene expression.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are animalistic, and you come in here and you express animal genes, animal DNA all day long. Exactly. All right, this is exactly what we're talking about. We're both sitting next to each other, and we're not over talking each other. We're not acting animalistic. We're not talking about meow. We're not doing cat sounds. See, people say, "Oh, you love sounding smart. You sound smart." If it sounds smart to you, why? Like, can you explain what we're saying? Do you understand what the words mean? Prokaryote just means a single cell organism. That's smart to you, the fact that I can say that? So you're intimidated by words. That's the thing. I can throw out any word to you and you'll become intimidated by it. And then because you don't know the meaning, you think I don't.
Exactly.
Like, that's projection.
And again, hominization is the process of becoming a human. And that's done through the genetic splicing, through introgress genes from 25,000 different genetic structure and material from outside organisms and outside genetic structures and DNA and blood from other organisms. So that creates a hybrid, mixed animal hybrid. Y'all are mixed animal hybrids. That is an unnatural species. So again, so-called black people, we are not humans. Human means animal man. We don't share DNA with no humans. No matter how long we are under the sun, you will never see horns grow out of us. You will never see tails grow out of us. You will never see fur grow out of us because we don't have the genotype of any animals. Y'all have genotypes from chimpanzees, from pigs, from dogs. This is why your phenotype, your physical characteristics, and your behavior expresses your genetic material, expresses like these animals. And your psychological state is directly influenced and connected to your genes. So the way you're going to structure your thoughts and behave in reality is how these animals within you is presented. So you're going to express how the cow thinks, how the dog thinks. So with that being said, what is your brain formulating into, considering the fact that you share genetics with multiple unnatural organisms?
Again, evolution is the biggest lie ever told. We never went from haploids to diploids. You see what I'm saying? Anybody that disagrees with what's on the screen, feel free to come up. But we actually understand every single word that we use, right? We actually understand every single thing that we're talking about, and we're not just here yapping, right? So like the point that we left off at, he was saying, well, you guys are trying to sound smart, but the scientists are smarter. We just watched a scientist today, an evolutionary biologist, say that evolution is not true. And he's one of many.
Yep.
Age of information, all is being revealed. The veil is being lifted, right? So when y'all come in here and make it about Homo erectus or make it about apes and humans, well, evolution is talking about all life on the planet.
Exactly. And his name is Dr. Carter, which is an evolutionary biologist. He literally says that humans didn't evolve. Your DNA can't evolve. Think about it. When y'all came out the caves, or when you was genetically spliced and came out the caves, you needed AI, religion, money, and a completely artificial system to so-called help you evolve that wasn't created by you. It was created off the knowledge of so-called black people, but the mind of the reptilians that created y'all.
These people didn't come from us. That's what this live is about. You don't get eukaryotic, vitrosynthetic, eukaryotic cells from a prokaryotic neuromelanated cell. That's why we take it back as far as the cells, because it's atoms that turn into molecules. Molecules turn into cells, molecules turn into tissues. Tissues turn into cells. All the cells in your body make up the organs and the organ system, which makes the organism. That's why evolution starts out with prokaryotes and eukaryotes and explaining their functionality. That's why endosymbiosis is suggested under this theory, right? We've only seen the engulfment take place in a lab. We've never seen it take place in nature. Go ahead, King Golden.
I'm sorry, you guys. I came up on accident. I was pressing the hearts. But I agree with your prompt. You know, I do believe that some people are not humans. Some people are monkeys. And that's what I'm going to say to that.
What do you mean some people are humans and some people are monkeys? Human means animal man. So what do you mean by that? Or he just left? Like, I don't know if he left by accident, but if you just came in here to say that and vomit and leave, I'm going to come clean. You're loud and wrong, right? I'm going to just come clean with you. That's why we take it back as far as the cells themselves to understand exactly who the organism is. Someone's asking about blood types. Blood types are connected to animals. Every single blood type that we know is connected to animals. I hear a lot of my people here in the so-called states talking about O positive blood and O blood, which is connected to monkeys and zooborn chimps. Antigens are foreign substances that trigger immunal responses in the body. So you feed antigens which are not supposed to be there, and they send messages to the brain, neurotransmitted messages that are allowing the brain or making the brain and the body function against its genetics, because there's inorganic, or excuse me, there's unnatural
Yo, shut the fuck up and show me
material.
some ass, bitch. Shut the fuck.
There's animal material that is connected to the cell, which distorts it, right? And anytime the blood becomes distorted, you see it expressed in the phenotype. So that's the reason why, you see what I'm saying, we look different today. There's different in behaviors because there's 8 different types of, so it was really more than that. Those are just the 8 main ones, right? Go ahead, user. Like, you could have just came up, sis. Like,
Yeah.
if you were going to do that to begin with, you could have just came up.
If you want to express your frequency, you can easily just request and express.
Go ahead, user. All right. Go ahead, Eugene. You're on mute. Eugene, you're on mute. Did you mean to request up?
You muted yourself, baby.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello.
go ahead and tell us why you requested up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering. I haven't met a talking ape yet. You know, so I was wondering if you had an answer for me there.
Evolution, the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about evolution and it being a lie?
I'm actually a Satanist by definition. So no, I don't believe in evolution at all. I believe in a higher power.
Okay, I got you. I'm going to come right back to you. Let me just introduce the next guest. I want to talk about that higher power and everything that you believe. Go ahead, Nay.
I just had a question. I was asking about blood types. I know you said that all blood types are goes back to monkey and what did you say,
Animals.
humanoid genes?
All antigens and blood types are connected to animals.
You feel that about like everyone in the world, or just like a specific?
That's what science is
Antigens,
saying.
like the definition of antigens, I'm going to show it to you so that way that it can be easier for you to understand by seeing the definition. But tell me why you're asking about antigens or blood types,
Because
rather.
I kind of like read upon like blood types, and actually I went to go see a nutritionist in Florida, and she was like a herbalist as well, and she would teach about like what types of food different blood types should eat. And I went to go get like I forget the name of the test. It's like shows what minerals you're missing in your body and what diet is best for you. And she was just basically stating like O positive people or people of O blood types is an ancient bloodline, and they have to eat a certain type of way. I was just getting you guys' opinion or take on it.
Okay, have you heard us like go live before? Like, is this your first time being in this
Yeah,
live?
this is actually my first time hearing you guys.
That's interesting. You knew to ask about blood types, but the antigen is a molecule that can trigger an immune response in a host organism. When you look at all venereal diseases and what these antigens are actually composed of, their embryological origin and where they stem from, prior to us coming in contact with these people, there were no antigens. There were no blood types because there was only one type of blood, because we all stem from that same totipotent stem cell or embryological origin. So this one, when it talks about a host organism, that is basically explaining one of the 3 symbiotic relationships that is seen in nature with parasitism. Where
I was going to say parasites. Yeah. Okay. So from my understanding, you feel like over time, people were like mixed in, or not, like humans and animals or whatever you feel like it's humans, basically got mixed. Basically everyone's mixed is my take on it.
I wasn't. Yeah, that's why I was trying to like explain it to you. Like, antigens, the parasitic relationships or is where like a parasite is feeding on the host organism and the host gets depleted. So this is what's happening to you on a blood, like on a biological level when it comes to the blood. So feeding the organisms, feeding the antigens is feeding a foreign entity that shouldn't be in the body and is triggering a host of other immunoresponses that you're probably not aware of.
Okay.
A nutritionist wouldn't be well versed in that. You know what I'm saying? They're more aligned with, anatomy, maybe hematology a little bit. And I'm pretty sure they have a basis of anatomy and things like that. But when it comes to the brain, and the messages that are being sent throughout the body, that's a different story. As far as all life on the planet and stuff like that, these people they're a byproduct of genetic engineering. So the hominids, all the mutations, all organic life stems from spontaneous generation, which leads us back to introgression. So evolution is not true for anyone, not true for any organism that you see on the planet. Every single theory that is listed under evolution is debunked by itself. We can calculate the allele frequency, we can calculate the mutations, we can look at the symbiotic theory. We've never seen the engulfment, so no scientist has ever witnessed the change from haploids to diploids. So we only see it in vitro. It's that worms and parasites. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, they are genetically engineered. Facts. So, yep, antigens are parasitic. You shouldn't be feeding the antigens. You should be eating according to your genetics. So when you do that, that is basically an anti-parasitic diet. Everything that is natural here is what's going to get rid of the nematodes, Toxoplasma gondii, flatworms, tapeworms, all of it.
And you could look up, do humans share ABNO blood types with animals? And it will tell you, yes, they share that ABNO system blood type with other primates such as chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans, meaning they can have the same blood types as humans, although they may have subtle differences in their blood group systems due to specific variations, which is variations within their Hox genes, their allele, synthetic recessive genes that's lab created. So foreign antigens is literally how they determine blood types within organisms. So we're not all mixed. It's just that we have parasites in our bodies that need to be flushed out consistently instead of accumulating it consistently.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, did that answer your question?
It did. I thank you all for the knowledge.
Gratitude and abundance. So everything stems from an embryological origin, and these people don't come from the same origin. That origin is genetic engineering and splicing. So when it comes to us being mixed, it depends on the mother, because she's the totipotent stem cell carrier. The father just comes along and sparks the zinc spark. He sparks the pattern, but she's the carrier of all the genetic information. He just sparks that genetic information within her, and it doesn't dismiss him, but all of your genetic material is received through the cerebral cortex from your mother. So whatever she is what you are. If your mother is YT and your father is BLK, you are a YT person. It's just a so-called black man sparked the pattern within a YT woman. That doesn't change the origin in which the cells emerge from, right? So when it comes to being mixed, it depends on the mother, because admixture, again, is still under evolution. And again, when we look at the cells, when we look at what everyone is composed of, the biochemistry, the biochemical substance that makes up who we are, it's not about race, it's about genetics, right? It's about what these things are made up of. And that's the thing that people are not wanting to accept. So they're saying evolution deniers, the most uneducated preschool dropouts ever. This is 5th and 6th grade science. I mean, they're telling you in school that
how are y'all undergoing 2.2 million unalivements every year because of the sun? How are y'all undergoing acute body radiation? How are you undergoing photocarcinogenesis if you're evolving and the sun evolved species? How are your chromosomes deleting? The 1p36 deletion syndrome, the 3q27 deletion syndrome, which is causing what? Angel syndrome, which is causing what? Apoptosis in neural cells. Y'all, this is what's happening for y'all. Y'all are having neurological, cardiovascular, and reproductive issues. Y'all are becoming sterile under the sun, but somehow you're a part of evolution and you're evolving. Make that make sense.
Also, I've heard different opinions. Like, me and a coworker of mine were having a conversation, and basically we were saying that like skin color, yes, features and everything plays a part, but like skin color doesn't really determine like your blood, like your genetics and stuff like that. Like, just because a person could be darker than you does not mean that they are quote unquote more black or native than you, because I feel like people of our background can come in every color. I don't think that's more or less. Do you get what I'm saying? Am I making sense at all? You guys are more educated than me on the topic. But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So when it comes, I understand what you're saying. There are people that are so-called darker than me, but they're they're vitrosynthetic melanated, right? Their Dravidians are darker. Some of them are darker than us. Some of the Arabs are darker than us, but it's not the same melanin as us. There are 8 different types of melanin, 5 that are basic and natural to the planet, and 3 that are synthetic. So these people, these animals, these unnatural allomelanated organisms and pyomelanated organisms, they have the synthetic versions of what comes through biogenesis. And that's what I mean by spontaneous generation. But give me 1 second, Nate. Let me get to 6-7. 6-7, welcome up. Tell me why you requested. 6-7, Bird, Granny, did you request up by accident?
No.
Okay, so tell me why you requested up.
How you gonna deny evolution?
Explain to me why you believe in evolution.
Where else would it come from?
What do you mean it? What are you talking about? Can you explain what you're saying?
Is.
Yeah, can you expound? Can you expand?
Where else would it come from?
Who is we? When it all goes back to 2 cells, 2 origins.
What origins?
Nah, I'm not doing it today. Let's come in here and if you're gonna request up, have a conversation with me. Don't do this. I know you are, but what am I type pick and choose ass shit. If you saying that evolution is a fact, come in here and express that and explain that.
So you don't know?
Yeah, I'm not. Look, like y'all.
What else would
we're
it
not.
be?
We're not. I'm not playing with y'all. I understand it's children on here. I'm not playing. All right, because at the base of this, our children are going missing. That's what we was just live about. So it's crazy. I have to use a topic like this to even get put in the algorithm to talk about what's happening to our children, because our children is going missing at the hands of these people that y'all calling animals across the globe. All right, go ahead, make it make sense.
Just you seen me write in the comments I'm Reese's O negative, so I know I didn't come from evolution. So anyone who thinks evolution is real, look at blood groups. You said something about a made group, and I think that's what Reese's O negative is. I think we were made after the fact. Does that make sense?
All of the antigens, all the blood types are connected to animals. The rhesus just got its name because it was specifically tested on the rhesus monkey, but all of them are connected to different animals.
And everybody outside of so-called black people is genetically spliced. All of y'all are genetically spliced.
You're saying it's the reptilian?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. It's reptilian.
And so you believe that's the creator of the eukaryotic cell?
No, that's all I come to these to educate myself, but I looked into rhesus O negative because it's my blood group. We kill our own babies. It's not natural.
All right, let's say unalive. Let's say unalive.
Sorry,
F1 in the chat.
sorry, we unalive our own, which isn't natural for any species of the world at all. So I don't believe that we were evolved.
Yeah, I don't believe that y'all were evolved, but when it comes to the when we look at eukaryotic, like the definition or what it means, its origin literally means true seeded nucleus. Prokaryotes means before nucleus. So when I seen someone came in here with the name Yaqub, Yaqub is a Hebrew story that translates to subplanter. So when we connect the dots between these two things, it's saying that an entity subplanted and created the eukaryotic cell here. And excuse me, there's a YT woman on the panel saying reptilians. You see what I'm saying? Which she's saying is the creator of the rhesus monkey, but the rhesus monkey is, we have to take it back as far as deep as the cell itself. So the reptilian, there is an entity depicted on the Sumerian text that is splicing organisms with the vestigial tails, the hypertrichosis, and everything that we've seen, like as far as the mutations that y'all have. So yes, y'all were created and seeded here on this planet genetically. That's what your, you know what I'm saying, what your genetics is saying. And yes, it's unnatural. You do unalive your own children. We can look at chimpanzees, bonobos, and monkeys, which are bonobos in nature, which y'all share a lot of DNA with. They grape each other. They unalive. They eat their children. They fight each other. They do heinous activities, heinous things to their children and other species. So the thing is if you recognize and are aware that you're unnatural, what steps are you taking to like with this? Like why are you telling me that your genetics is unnatural? What how do you, I mean, I just don't really understand, like when people tell us that, how does that make you feel?
Sorry. The question was about evolution, and to me, it made me question evolution, and that's as a young person. That's all. I don't think I'm special. I think I'm damaged. I think I was a bad make, if that makes any sense. I think I'm a bad copy if they were making copies. And I am uneducated when it comes to animals, and back to where rhesus actually comes from. But the rhesus O negative is apparently, and I say apparently because I don't actually know any facts anymore, it is a reptilian. But I don't know if that's fact neither.
Yeah, it's the story. The name keeps changing, but it's the same story, whether it's Pendar, which is what you're talking about with the reptilian, or Yaqub, or God, Zeus, Enki and Enlil, Gilgamesh. You know, it's all the same like, you know what I'm saying, same story. It's just the name is changing. But yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, these reptilians, they also put their DNA within y'all as well, and graze within y'all as well. So this is why all those talks about the 23andMe trying to find alien hybrids, y'all are the alien hybrids. You have over 25,000 genetics within your genome. So I just wanted to say that.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Hey, it could be assumed, you know, that in Americas they appeared out of nowhere, and then the history that we have is just so cut off to where Black people history cuts off at when slavery began, or began where slavery begins, but no one questions where did your history come from, you know? And so I'm not being nasty towards anyone that is not Black, but question yourself, where are you from?
Where do you think they're from?
I think that the things that they participating are unnatural. I think like the essay of animals, the capitulation of what they accept shows us that we are not of the same kind. So, outside of where we are, can I pinpoint where they came from? I can't, but I can say that it is a different place than other folks.
So where did they come from? Where do you think that they came from?
Yeah.
Y'all want me to be nasty?
I
We
just
just want you to explain where these people came from. If you think that
I'm not for sure, but I do think that they are not of the God that we belong to.
so we belong to God.
So yeah,
I believe that we were created. Okay, let me back it all the way up. I believe that we were created. So in order for me to believe that we were created, I think that we needed to be created. So that whoever created us, I would name as Big G.
Big G.
Okay, I got you. Okay, we'll get right back to that. I just wanted to introduce the next guest, but we're gonna circle everybody. Like after Netaru, we'll get back to Nay and keep going. So thank you for sharing that, Nikki. Go ahead, Netaru. You're saying that we created these people. Oh, okay. Before we get to Netaru, go ahead, Nay. Go ahead. Nay, did you have something to say? You can come off mute. If you're off the app, I can't hear you. I see you're off mute, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We got you.
Okay. I had a question about in reference to the Eve gene. I know that from my knowledge, they say that Black women carry the Eve gene, meaning we're able to produce any basically skin tone, our kids can have any hair color, any eye color, and things of that nature. What's your take on that?
What the Eve gene is talking about the electron. There's actually no Eve gene. They're talking about the electron, and the electron through the color force is able to create 48 plus shades of herself. So this is why you see the so-called Black woman. She can create different shades of herself, but she doesn't create animal DNA, mixed animal hybrids. She doesn't create that. So she creates albinos, and she creates light-skinned and neuromelanated people, and she creates dark neuromelanated people that all biosynthesize the sun. All hair grows towards the sun, and all have the same phenotypical features of her. So
I'll attest to that. Listen, I'm a Black woman that has a son that skin is lighter than light skin, but my skin is dark, very dark. I don't want to feel ashamed by it, but I do. And then I'm looking at my son, but all his features are mine.
Yeah, there's nothing to be ashamed of it. When we study our DNA, it's like you just said, we can create 48 different shades of ourself, plus truly the chakra system. If you really want to be real, when we get into the morphology behind the genetics and how that would actually be the formative causation and the explanation for that. But all of his genetic material came from you directly through the cerebral cortex. So I wouldn't be ashamed of that at all. But let's get to Netaru. And thank you for that question, Nay.
Abundance for that.
Go ahead, Netaru. You're saying that we created these people. Can you explain that? You're on mute. Go ahead.
Okay. So a so-called group of Black people created the people we call white for slavery, and they say it's mundane science. Gene splicing is mundane science. I studied this years ago, so I'm gonna have to go back to be more specific. But they use the female monkey or the rhesus monkey, and they spliced it with various animals, and then male genetics of so-called black people, because white people do not carry mitochondrial DNA. Their women do not carry mitochondrial DNA. If they have mitochondrial DNA, it's from Aboriginal, what I call Aboriginal instead of black, Aboriginal women. So they do not, and this is the reason why they have so many genetic disorders, because they don't carry mitochondrial DNA. That's only from Aboriginal women. And this is their sciences now, where they are trying to repair or fix this disorder by using so many genetics from Aboriginal women, taking the placenta, all this talk about gene editing is to try to repair the fact that they don't have mitochondrial DNA. So they were genetically engineered. Some of them, we know they have tails, they have fur, they have hooves, they have horns, they have all types of animal presentation, which why in America they switch from midwives to doctors, so that the doctors can have these women stop reproducing or destroy these offsprings to try to clean up their genetics so they appear more normal, if you will. And my mother worked for a hospital back in the day where they would keep these children that was born with all of these pronounced presentations. So I studied midwifery and why it ended, why it changed hands. And it was just, for white men to cover up the fact that these women were producing these more animalistic children, and they wanted to, take that out of the public so that they again appear more normal or more human-like, quote unquote.
So I got you with
yes,
that.
they were.
Understand genetic engineering and introgression and the different types of hybridization and why there are different types due to the cell. I got all that. I'm asking you, can you explain to me how I actually have two questions now. Number one, can you explain to me how black people, so-called black people, created these organisms? And then the second question I have is, how do you splice into a cell that is coated in neuromelanin? Because you're saying that we spliced ourselves and created them. So can you go into detail? Like you saying that you understand genetic engineering, like how do you splice a cell that has that type of genetic expression?
Well, I couldn't explain it because I'm not scientific in that manner. But this is the history that was written about, that they call it mundane science. I don't know that science. I don't know it was mundane at a point where, just like you can add, I know they do it with plants. Gardeners do it with plants. They may open up a tree and add in some genetics and, and create something new or add some genetic material. So I don't know specifically how they did it, but they wrote about it and wrote about doing it, and they called it a mundane science, like it was a common understanding at that time. I don't know it.
Wait, so they wrote about it and you studied it, but you don't know it. And who's they? Like, are you talking about our people are the ones that
They
were
didn't. They didn't
splicing?
reveal. They didn't reveal how they did it. They just said that it was done.
Okay,
Don't
well,
don't
that's
don't
the
do me.
thing.
Don't do
Yeah,
me. I just said they didn't. Yeah.
yeah, no, the thing is like I can explain to you genetic engineering, introgression, and every single type of hybridization. That's why I'm asking you, because this is something that if it was
Well,
common
you may
then
be
and it
a
was
scientist
actually,
in that
I'm not a
field.
scientist, but that's the thing. If I ask, when we ask each other things, if we don't know them, it's kind of harmful to say something that we can't articulate. Because you were in the comments telling me that I was wrong, but you came up here and you couldn't explain it to me. That's a problem.
I
You know
told
what I'm
you.
saying?
I told you
I
you was wrong
I
about
asked
Please,
what?
one
you,
at a
yeah,
time.
give me a second because I let you talk for like 15 minutes and I didn't cut you off not once. And I'm just asking you to explain something that came out of your mouth. That's all I'm doing. If you don't know, I got you. You're saying you don't know, but I'm just saying like we shouldn't say things that we can't articulate because that's harmful. A lot of these women, men and women that are in here, you don't know. Their children could be in the next room listening or could be next to them. So we just have to make sure that we're intentional with the things that we're saying. Like I said, I can articulate everything that I'm talking about. That's why I'm live about it. I wouldn't request up to anybody else's live if I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, explain it. So I
It
got
would be
you.
like
I'm asking you, where did you get to the conclusion that Black people created these organisms?
I said they genetically engineered them, just like in vitro fertilization is a type of implant that uh, that is done. Again, I don't know the science that they use. I just know that it was talked about in historical documents that they did do that.
I got
Okay.
you.
I know
In vitro.
you from a reptilian alien. I heard y'all say something about some reptilians, some aliens. That may be your perspective that's how they occurred, but I'm just speaking on another understanding that's historically documented.
That's what I'm
That
Yeah.
asking you to explain, my sister. Like, what is it that you've looked at? That's all I'm saying. You're saying that we did it and that you read about it. I'm asking you to
May
explain
I,
that.
please?
Give
yeah,
me a
I'm
second.
saying
I'm speaking to someone else. Once we get done, we'll let anybody else speak, but that's rude to cut her off while we're talking to her.
I got like 4 computers with like thousands of PDF books, and I read this. I'm 59 years old. I probably read this maybe 20 years ago. I have to go back to it to be more specific, but I understand it to be true.
Okay, I got you. Go ahead, Nikki, or go ahead.
I was just gonna say in vitro means lab made scientific process. Whatever in vitro means that any scientific process that's occurring inside of a lab. So when you're saying that we did in vitro, that doesn't make sense because our DNA, our neuromelanin is predates labs. It's past, present, and future. And our melanin, our DNA is neuromelanin. So that's why she asked you, how do you cut into a cell that's coated in neuromelanin when every genetic splicing scientist out there is using UV light to cut into the cell? So that
Now,
can't be done. So you're telling me
now,
you looked at thousands.
Okay,
Yeah, you're telling me
We're
you
not.
hold on
hold
for a
on for a
second.
second,
You're telling
please.
me you looked at 1,000 different scientific documents, but you can't explain to me how the neuromelanated cell can be spliced to add genetic information in and to take genetic information out. You see what I'm saying? What our women really have is the immortal gene. You see what I'm saying? The gene that actually keeps self-replicating and self-sustaining and self-organizing and self-repairing itself. You see what I'm saying? This is what we have. She has totipotent stem cells, which actually have the potency and capability to uh, um, produce a child just from a single cell, which proves that she's a single-celled organism. So that's why I was confused on how did the eukaryotic cell got here when genetically we have nothing to do with them. You saying we made them for slavery for slave what? Because You saying what they're doing right now because they are slaves, just not for us, because they're enslaving us. These people are enslaving us. We didn't make them to be slaves. They're enslaving us. They're taking from us. They're taking our children. They're
Is this
taking
a
our women.
panel you can speak?
If someone is speaking, why would you talk at the same time as them? It does say evolution, the biggest lie ever told, no over talking, because we give each other respect in here. Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead. Give me 1 second, Neteru. She wants to speak. Like, go ahead. We explained the rules when y'all came up here. Like, everybody knows the rules. We do one at a time and we don't overtalk. Go ahead.
Okay. Respect to everyone, especially the last guy that was just speaking about the knowledge that you have. In layman term, nature is about the survival of the fittest. Sometimes, if you're super smart, you can break it down into why the fittest has survived. You know, and that's kind of what I hear that you're describing. But what I don't understand is what are y'all saying that we are saying that they don't have, or what position is y'all panel? What?
So that's what you were cutting the sister off because you wanted to ask us that? You couldn't wait for the sister to land because you wanted to ask us that? So you asking what's the stance of the live when it say evolution is the biggest lie told? That's the stance of the live is that evolution is not true for any organism on this planet. So
I
that's why he was breaking down
I did
the
not say any
cells.
of that. I
in the
never
norm.
said any of that. I did not say don't do that.
You said, what's the stance? What's your stance?
Yes,
That's what
I
you
did
just
not
said.
say
The
nothing
stance.
about every organism.
I got you. You're asking. That's what we're talking about. That's what the live is about, though.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just that this live is about evolution not being true for any organism on the globe.
Meaning that every organism on this planet didn't evolve from each other. Every organism on this planet has their own evolutionary path. A lion is going to evolve in its own genetic gene pool. It's not going to evolve into a giraffe. It's not going to evolve into a fish. That's what this is saying. The black woman, she's not going to give birth to a white man, to an Asian man, to an Arab man. So how can we be a part of the same human race? And with that knowledge that we have there, why are we now subjugating our children to these species? Why are we allowing these species to medically and psychologically evaluate our people? Why are we allowing these species to police our people? These are the type of questions that we're going to start to start having when we start to come into contact with the two different cellular types that are the distinct reason on why two different species exist on this planet. So there's different reptilian statues all over the planet showing how they've been splicing DNA, showing you that they have white people, Asian people, Arab people, Dravidians on all fours with leashes on them, with hypertrichosis, werewolf syndrome, where they grow obsessive fur because that's genetic expression of cow DNA, of dog DNA. They have horns because they share DNA with sheeps. You see what I'm saying? They have a pig mucous membrane. Their integumentary system resembles a pig, and their cells in the sun gets inflamed in the sun. And we're working for these people. You see what I'm saying? We think these people are natural. We think these people are part of the same species as us. And that information right there is lies. And that is detrimental to the next generation for their brains' growth and development.
Yeah, it's not just YT people. I heard somebody on the panel say like YT people, like genetically Asians are first. So we would have had to start with them. You know what I'm saying? In their genus, the Asians would have had to been first. Then we would have got to the Dravidians way before we even got to the YT man. I seen somebody in the comments say that ancient science is superior to modern science. Science is explaining the natural world. it's easy to pick out what things are not natural when you're studying the same cyclical and reciprocal things that happen on this planet. I think that some people have just not been studying self deep enough, have not been studying the womb that they're in deep enough, right? I think people don't understand the science for real, which is explaining and making sense of the reality that we're living. There is an answer for everything. You just might not be studying it. You just might not be looking into it, you know? I'm going to get back to you, Nay. Go ahead, make it make sense. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, just when I
The
came
Epiphany, come up. If not, like, you can request up, babe. You can request up. Feel free. Go ahead, make it make sense.
when I first came here, you said about doing this live that your live doesn't get pushed out when you want to talk about what you genuinely want to talk about. I think that subject should be through in every half hour. If it's not being pushed out, that needs to be said. That's so important. We have to protect the youngers, no matter who we are, who made us. They're evil, whoever it is, and that's the last I'll say. Sorry if I annoyed anyone. I'll drop down. I'll listen, guys.
You didn't annoy us. I literally asked you if you had any input, but if that's what you want to do, feel free. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I think Nay wanted to say something, and then we'll get to Neteru. Anybody wants to request up, they disagree with what's on the screen, feel free. Just bring science and not feelings. All right? Go ahead, Nay.
I basically had an input on going back to different pigments and colors, skin tones, and things of that nature. I feel as though like the people of our background, like the closer they are to the equator, plays a part in their skin tone. Is like protection, you know, from the sun in a way. Even though the sun is good for us and to us. I kind of feel like it's our natural habit, you know, whatever habitat we're in plays a part. And I also wanted to go back and have an input on mixing species. I feel like people of our background do not mix good with quote unquote white people's genes, because I know for sure that working in the healthcare field that sometimes like a white woman and a black male will have a child, and they will have to have a shot basically so the pregnancy doesn't harm the woman or the baby, because they don't mix. And you can see that in their behaviors, like even as a kid, like they get frustrated easy, they're angry, they can't express themselves in a normal way, and they don't have empathy. They don't have empathy for other people. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah, about the climate, like wherever the sun touches, so-called neuromelanated people can live and thrive at. That's what prokaryotic cells can do. We can live in any environment without undergoing harsh changes within our anatomy, physiology, chemistry, neurology, and all of that. We still have the same genetic structure of the same elemental atoms. So this is why we're saying the evolution theory isn't real, and is that we never change into these people. No matter what climate we undergo, we would never change into these people. We are the sun walking literally in a hydrocarbon suit. You see what I'm saying? We literally have the stardust DNA. So we need to understand what our DNA is and how it functions. And when we do mix with these people, that's what she was saying earlier. It actually adds antigens to our bloodstream that affect our lymphatic and lymphatic system and affects our immune system. You see what I'm saying? In a negative fashion. It actually strips the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals outside of our red blood cells. And our red blood cells starts to deplete. When our red blood cells start to deplete in these nutrients, they actually start to unalive more than they're reproducing. And that causes red blood cell hemolysis, and a lot of different zoonotic diseases also are able to start taking place within the body. So when we first came into contact with these people, 509 of our women, children, and men were falling unalive because we were coming into contact with their reproductive fluids and chemicals, which again was giving antigens to our bloodstream. Every time we eat meat, every time we procreate with these people, anytime we're around these people breathing in their microbiome, we're consistently feeding and adding antigens inside of our body that is not supposed to be there because we're trying to live and merge our anatomy with a different completely species on the planet that is a mixed animal hybrid.
A different species, which invokes ischemia, hemolytic diseases, zoonotic diseases on a biological level. So that's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, when you're talking about the DNA being incompatible on a biological level, that's the explanation of that. When we first came in contact with these people, they were wiping us out with disease because we're not the same as them. When elephants, when bees, when everything in nature, when they procreate, these diseases don't get invoked on this on a cellular level because they're the same species. Their DNA is compatible to procreate and create viable offspring, right? So when people say viable offspring, when it comes to YT people, Asian, everybody else, y'all undergo mutations. I wouldn't consider that to be viable offspring, right? So thank you for that. Let's see, Netaru, did you have something to add?
Yes, I do. Both of you said exactly what I'm saying, but when I say it, it's a problem. So you spoke about. Let me finish. Yeah, you spoke and said that you're saying your difference is that you're saying that reptilians made all of these different animalistic beings, and I said it was so-called black people. But you said, well, how could it have happened? How did that happen? And he wasn't able to explain how did the reptilian genetically engineer all of these different types of animalistic presentments. But you wanna ask me how they did it. But you're saying that it happened, and I'm saying it happened too. I'm just saying that we had the science and we did it. It's not me, not my people, but a people. There is a book.
That's what I just asked you to explain. So let's not do that. I asked you to explain yourself, and you could have just did that then.
Yeah, he could. But you all been saying it the whole time, and I've been agreeing with you the whole time. Yet
we didn't say that though.
You said black people, a black man specifically, DNA was used to be spliced to create animal mixed hybrids.
Yeah.
So I asked you, how did that happen? When I brought up the reptilians, I brought up the Sumerian tablets. I brought up the hieroglyphs and petroglyphs that they left in Sumer in Iraq. I also brought up how there's different statues all over the planet in Norway, in South America, Africa, all over the globe, depicting how they're splicing this species. That's what I'm showing you. That's what I'm telling you. You're telling me black people, and then you're telling me also that you have these different documents. You haven't named one. You haven't also told me. You haven't also. So again, please. We're not saying the same thing because I didn't tell you that black people can be spliced. I said they're splicing eukaryotic malleable cells, which means that you can easily take genetic information out of those cells and put genetic information in those cells at will. You see what I'm saying? That's what truly seeded nucleus means, a eukaryotic cell means. So how did they do that with a prokaryotic cell? That's what we were asking you. And we told you that you can't do that with us. You cannot do that with us. Reptilians are not shown on statues splicing so-called black people DNA. They're shown splicing these people that we call Asian, Arabs, and Dravidians and white people. This is what's been shown because they have animal DNA. You cannot splice light with light.
Okay, well, so-called black men can have babies with white women, but a Aboriginal woman cannot have a baby with white men without having the Rogaine shot to maintain that foreign substance in her womb. Now, because of the mixing because of so much mixing, and they added this rhesus monkey antigen to vaccines, in food and everything else, infecting us with this disease. We're more able to now, but that wasn't the case before. That couldn't happen before. It may have happened initially in a Aboriginal woman giving birth, but then her body would understand that it was foreign and she couldn't reproduce with that white man again. That has happened historically, but not unless she is shot with that Rogam shot, or they used to call it blood brothers, where you would infect by breaking the skin